we're going to start with simple present. Our objectives, aims. The overall aims of the course are: number one, to use English effectively for study purpose across the curriculum. Number two, to develop and integrate the use of the fourth language skills: reading, listening, speaking, and writing. Number three, revise and reinforce structure already learned. Our objective in our reading skills, the ability to read English with understanding. The student is able to understand the total content and underlying meaning of the context. Listening skills, the ability to understand English when it is spoken. The student should be able to understand meaning of words, phrases, and sentences. Speaking skills, the ability to speak intelligibly. The student is able to pronounce English correctly and use appropriate word stress. Writing skills, the ability to write English correctly. The student is able to write paragraphs, letters, personal and official, simple, narrative pieces, reports, notice, messages, their entires. Now, let's see. Verbs. Verbs are words that describe an action or talk about something that happens. They take many different forms depending on their subjects, the time they refer, and other ideas we want to express. Don't forget, verbs are words that describe an action. It's important to know about the verbs that all the verbs they describe an action. Now, let's check these verbs. Drink, go, lead, lift, heat, drive, eat, hop, lock, look, juggle, float. All these verbs are in a simple present form. Now we have to check simple present using the subject I, we, you, and they. Here, in affirmative, we have to use our subject I, we, you, and they. The verbs in simple present are the verbs in a regular form, plus a time expression. Let's check this example. They is the subject. Study is the verb in simple present. English in the morning. Our time expression is in the morning. Here we have to use this structure to create a sentence in affirmative. Now, don't forget, we need subject plus verb plus complement. Let's see this example. We play basketball once a week. Subject, we. Verb, play. Complement, once a week. They study their bachillerato in CETEC. Here, don't forget, subjects, we and they. Verb, play and study. The rest is the complement. Now, let's check the grammar sentences. Now, let's check this structure. You learn English every Saturday in CETEC. They practice how to use the computer. We need a certification from Microsoft. In this sentence, now the verbs learn, practice, and need, and then all the complement. Don't forget the now we use in these subjects: you, they, and we. My parents like romantic films. They go to the cinema on Tuesday. They work in the post office. Here, subjects, my parents, they and they. The verbs like, go and work, and the rest is the complement. Romantic films, to the cinema on Tuesday, in the post office. We are a happy family and we have lunch together every day. Here, in the sentence, they use the subject we. Now, here, the verb to be, are, and a complement. We have, here, the verb, have, and complement. The time expression is every day. Now, two different types of sentence. Now, here, they use the verb, and now, here, the verb to be. Don't forget the structure. Now, let's check this review. Review number 1. Question 1. What do you do on weekends? Number 2. Where do you study? Number 3. Do you have computer skills? Now, check the sentence. Now, we have to answer these questions. Ready? Let's check the answers. Review number 1. What do you do on weekends? I study for my English certification and practice sports. Now, the structure that we use to answer is subject, verb, and complement. Number 2. Where do you study? Subject, I. Verb, study. Complement, take my university career. Number 3. Do you have computer skills? I learn how to use CorelDRAW. Here, subject, I, verb, learn, and complement. Don't forget, to answer these questions, you have to use the English structure. Now, we're going to check simple present, but now we have to use the subject, he, she, it. Now, we have another verbs, bounce, climb, dance, dig, close, brush, build, color, draw, dream, come, call. All these verbs are in a simple present. That means in the regular form. But now we have to check something that we have to learn. The spelling for the verbs in the third person differs depending on the ending of the verb. Rule number 1. For the verbs that end in O, CH, SH, double S, X, or C, we add ES in the third person. For example, go. Now, here ends in a vowel O. And the structure says that if we add ES, go, goes. Don't forget, in the third person, the verb has to be different. Catch. The final two letters, CH, catches. Don't forget, rule number 1, verbs that end in O, CH, SH, double S, X, or C, we add ES in the third person. This is rule number 1. Number 2. For the verbs that end in A, consonant plus Y, we remove the Y and add IES. Marry. Here, the verbs end in consonant plus Y. Here we have to delete or remove Y and add IES. Marry, marries. Study, studies. This is rule number 2. Consonant plus Y, remove Y, and add IES. Rule number 3. For the verbs that end in a vowel plus Y, we use add S. The verb play ends vowel plus Y, so use add S. Plays. Enjoy, vowel plus Y, enjoys. Don't forget rule number 1, rule number 2, and rule number 3. It's only usable for he, she, it. Use simple present to express the idea that an action is repeated or usual. He, she, it. Verb in simple present. Don't forget rule number 1, 2, and 3, plus a time expression. Let's see this example. Vicky studies. The verb study ends in consonant plus Y. We have to delete Y and add IES. Studies. Her, because it's a girl. Preparatory at a tech school every day. Don't forget, this is the structure to create in simple present using he, she, it. Now, let's check present simple spelling rules. Most verbs takes an S in the third person singular. He, she, it. In rule number 1, verbs that end in double S, SH, CH, X, or O, we have to add ES at the end of the verb, but now only with he, she, it. For example, I miss, he misses. I finish, he finishes. I watch, he watches. I mix, he mixes. I go, he goes. Here, this verb, miss, ends with double S. The verb finish ends SH. The verb watch ends CH. The verb mix ends X. The verb go ends in O. Rule number 2. A consonant plus Y. In this case, we have to delete the final Y and we have to add IS. This example, I study, he studies. So the final consonant and Y, they have to delete and use IS. I cry. He cries. Don't forget, consonant plus Y, we have to delete Y and add IS. Rule number 3. A vowel plus Y. Here we have to add S. I play, he plays. Now, let's check about rule number 2 and rule number 3. They are very similar. The exception is a consonant and vowel. Study. The final two letters are consonant, white. Play. The final two letters, vowel plus white. Don't forget, This is the rules to how to use present simple. Now let's check this review. Review number 2. We have to add es, s, or ies, depending of the verbs. Be careful. Bless, fix, fly, cry, copy, enjoy, speak, drive, carry, do, feel, relax, bus, sweep, drive, fry. Let's check about these verbs. Ending with double S, ends with X, ends, consonant plus Y. Cry, consonant plus Y. Check every single verb. Don't forget you have to add es, s, or ies. Now let's check your answers. Review number 2. Bless, ends and double S, blesses. Fix, ends and X, fixes. Fly, consonant plus white, flies. Cry, cries. Copy, copies. Enjoy, enjoys. Don't forget rule number 2 and rule number 3. Consonant plus Y, vowel plus Y. Speak, speaks. Dry, dries. Carry, carries. Do, does. Feel, feels. Relax, relaxes. Bus, buses. Sweep, sweeps. Drive, drives. Fry, fries. Check your answers. Don't forget verbs ending in a different form. Double S, O, X, C, P, E, consonant plus Y, vowel plus Y. Check your answers. Now let's check the grammar sentences. What's up? I am Victor. I work in CETEC 7 days a week. I live in Mexico City now. I listen to music every day. Actually, I love rock music. Now, let's check. Here, the subject is I. In that form, you are talking about yourself. And the verbs, they have to be in a simple present. Work, live, listen, love. And the complement is going to help to the subject and the verb. Here, we have a clear example how we can use all the structure in a sentence. Let's check another example. She is Sandy. She is my wife. That person is a girl. Her name is Sandy. Sandy works as a financial consultant. She studies computing classes online in CETEC. She likes sport cars. Something interesting. Now, don't forget, here it's one of the rules. The verbs are going to switch depends of the ending. Works, studies, likes. And be clear, if you know the name of the person, you can use her name or you can use the subject she. Catherine and Devant are my children. Catherine studies elementary school. Devant studies junior high school. Now, here, a girl, a man. Now, in this example, we are talking about two people, plural, are, children, plural. Catherine, about the girl, she, and now the verb study, studies, is going to be different because we are talking about a person. Devant studies. Don't forget, is one of the rules. Consonant plus y, we have to delete y and add is. They study in the morning. They practice any sport during the week. They like electronic music. They love romantic movies. Now, we are talking about two people, they. And now, the rule says the verb has to be in simple present. Study, practice, like, love. Time expression, in the morning, during the week. Complement electronic music and romantic movies. It's part of the sentence. Don't forget, here, the verbs stay in a regular form. She is Catherine. She is my daughter. Catherine works in a hospital. She likes medicine. Now, don't forget a name or subject, she, and the verb to be, is. Now, here, a description. Subject, verb, complement. Works. The verb has to be different because we are talking about her. And the verb says that we have different rules. This is my cousin Michael. He is very intelligent and he likes video games. Mike studies at home. Here we are talking about he. He is a man. If you know his name, you can use his name or nickname. And the subject, he. The verb in this sentence has to be different. Likes, studies. Don't forget all the structure and the rules to use simple present. People is the cat. It is angry all the time. It plays with the dog and it eats spaghetti. Here we're talking about an animal. It. The verb has to be different according to the structure and the rules. Plays. It. And their name or the subject it. Now, let's check a review. Now, we have to read about Miss Vicky. Review number 3. Miss Vicky wakes up at 5 a.m. every day. She drives her car and goes to the gym at 5:30. She works out until 6:30 a.m. Then she goes home, has breakfast, and takes a shower. She walks to school. She has a computer classes. Then she has an English class. Her boyfriend calls her and invites her for dinner. Miss Vicky goes to the store to get a USB. She does her homework and learns how to use Photoshop until 6 p.m. She practices an English song from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. She meets her boyfriend at 8 p.m. They have dinner together and watch a movie. Finally, Miss Vicky gets ready for bed. She brushes her teeth and goes to sleep. Now, in this review, you have to underline the verbs in all this text. Don't forget, try to check the verbs and don't forget the rules. Now, let's check your answers. Wakes, goes, drives, works, goes, walks, calls, invites, learns, does, practice, meets, gets, brushes, goes. In this activity, you have to underline the verbs, and now with this you are able to see how those verbs can be different. Don't forget, this is a review number 3. Now, let's check our grammar sentences. Simple present. It rains a lot in Britain in March and April. I always sleep 8 hours every night. It snows quite often in Britain during the winter. Here, with the simple present, the verb is going to be different. Don't forget the structure: he, she, it. And the verb in simple present depends on the rules. Rains. Complement. Subject: I. Verb: sleep. Here, in this case, when you are talking about yourself, the verb doesn't change anything. It snows quite often in Britain during the winter. Don't forget the verbs. They work every Saturday. The children play in the garden. He plays loud music. In the first example, they, the verb, has to be with a regular form, simple present. The children, here, child is singular, children, plural. And here in the picture, they are 2 children. So they use the verb in a regular form. He plays loud music. In that sentence, we are talking about a man, he, and the verb has to be different, plays. In simple present, Liz likes her piano lessons. Likes, because we are talking about a girl. Her, it's helping to the name. Liz is her, and something that she likes. Simple present, I like vegetables. In here, the subject, I, the verb in a simple form, and complement. Review. Now, let's check this review. In review number 4, we have to check all the text and underline the verbs. Ants. Most people don't like bugs, but Dr. Max Moffat loves them. In fact, his nickname is Dr. Bugs. He is a photographer and an entomologist. An entomologist study bugs. Dr. Moffat's favorite bug is the ant. He goes all over the world to study ants. He watches them as they eat, work, rest, sleep, and fight. He takes photographs of the ants. He lies on the ground with his camera and waits for the right moment. The ants and the other bugs often bite him, but that doesn't stop Dr. Bugs. He has an interesting and unusual job, and he loves it. Now, we have to check our answers. In this text, now, we can see all the verbs in a different color. Check your answers. The verbs are like, loves, studies, goes, study, watches, eat, work, rest, sleep, fight, takes, lies, waits, bite, stop, has, loves. It's so interesting about ants. Now, the phrase of the end of the class. Have a nice day. Keep studying, and you are learning English here in CETEC.